Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Neremik, welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Last time I left us on the cliffhanger of if we were going to have Gina testify or not. But I think it makes sense to have her testify, so yeah. My lord, the defense would like to make a proposal. Oh? What proposal, counsel? While the court awaits the arrival of Mr. McGilder's small box, I would like to call the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade, to the witness stand. The defendant? To what end? It's to do with the various articles deposited at Winterbanks by Mr. McGild, my lord. Miss Lestrade has information related to them. I believe it would be beneficial for the court to hear what she has to say. It will prove the significance of the articles in question once and for all. Well, things are becoming interesting. I presume you've considered the implications of the testimony you're proposing. In particular, the impact it will have on the accused's standing, and indeed your own. I have. Lord Van Zeeks, would you care to explain that last remark? The prosecution accepts the defense's proposal. I move to interrupt the cross-examination of the current witness and hear from the accused herself. Very well, if you have no objection. So, the court will now hear the testimony of the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade. You witnesses currently in the stand may step down until further notice. Then I shall bid you good day. Wait. You, sir, shall remain in the stand while Miss Lestrade testifies. As you wish. Alright then, Gina, it's time. And this will be hard, but please, put your faith in me here. Good luck, Bruno. Okay. Let's get this. The articles that Mr. McGilder had deposited in Winterbank's pawnbrokery. They are intimately related with the omnibus case, the trial of which was heard in this courtroom 2 months ago. Yes, and I remember this young lady being brought before me in that trial as well. That's right, my lord. Her testimony helped to establish the innocence of the defendant, Mr. McGilder. The omnibus case was intriguing, to say the least. And now here we are all again, the same players in that trial facing each other once more. A twist of fate, perhaps, my Nipponese friend. Allow me to recap the events of 2 months ago. An old brickmaker was stabbed to death in an omnibus running along London's winter streets. Apart from the victim, there was only one other person in the carriage, Mr. McGilder. Naturally, he was the prime suspect for the murder. But as the trial progressed, another possibility emerged. That the murder in fact took place above the defendant's head on the roof deck, with the body then being dropped through the skylight into the carriage below. It was Miss Lestrade whose testimony brought that possibility to light. At the time of the incident, Miss Lestrade was concealed in the recess in the carriage, hoping to pick the pockets of unsuspecting passengers. Then, immediately after the trial, having been acquitted of the murder, Mr. McGilder died in this very courtroom in the most extraordinary of circumstances. A mystery that remains unsolved even now, 2 months on, as indeed the omnibus murder itself. Be that as it may, I recall neither the disc nor this small box being mentioned in the course of those proceedings. Miss Lestrade, would you tell the court now, please? What really happened in the omnibus 2 months ago, I mean? I don't know what you mean. I already said all what I know. And what about everything you told us yesterday from inside your prison cell? Please, Miss Lestrade, this is extremely important. But remember, little girl, if it transpires that you willfully withheld information in the trial 2 months ago, the Home Office will seek to prosecute you for perjury. And naturally, you will lose all credibility as a witness. Although, let's face facts, you have little credibility to lose.
Ginny, don't listen to him. Please, you have to trust Bruno now. Iris? We're on your side.
Alright then, I'll talk. It's the right choice, Gina. Well, it would seem that my learned friend is hell-bent on bringing the entire courtroom down about his ears. So be it. I must confess that I'm struggling to understand what on earth is happening here. However, it would appear that Mr. McGilded's porn articles, that extraordinary case of the omnibus, harbour secrets of which we have hitherto unaware. So, Mr. Lestrade, you will now give your testimony before the court about the events of 2 months ago. You will reveal the truth and comment is sorely lacking in your original statements. This is it then. Everything's gonna come out. Like Van Zeek said, this could bring the whole courtroom down about my ears. But as a lawyer, I'm prepared to take that risk. Let's hear it then. I better see nothing that I need to object to. So the real truth of the omnibus case. Truth is, that brick makes covers in the cabin of the omnibus the whole time. When the Irishman dragged me out from under the seat, I saw that disc on the floor. Also, I heard a scream from over my head, and that pair on the roof deck went off to call stops. As for Mr. McGill slipped the driver a tin to do the run so pawn shop went about. He threatened me not to snitch, not say nothing to no one about what I'd seen or heard. Okay.
Good grief, this is outrageous! What you've just told the court bears almost no resemblance to your testimony 2 months ago.
As you say, my lord.
Then there's every chance I may have adjudicated an error of Mr. McGilded's trial. It sounds very much to me as if the man deliberately deceived this court in an effort to cover up the most wicked of schemes.
Without doubt, your lordship is correct. A great injustice was done in this courtroom 2 months ago. The actions of the accused in that trial, of this witness, and of my learned friend are extremely inexcusable. I don't believe it. The whole trial was a farce. It was all lies. That McGilded fellow was right into the car, just like that pickpocket. Don't forget that lawyer from the East. They were all in on it together. You wrong the lawyer, Mr. Naruhodo, the lawyer there. He didn't know nothing about it.
Humbug.
I don't think so. We really expected to believe that.
He really stitched everyone up, didn't he? What operation to get the man off scot-free.
Unforgivable. Stop. The lies have to stop. Stop.
Yes, the defense made a terrible error of judgment. I intend to take full responsibility and suffer whatever consequences are deemed appropriate. However, I do have a ukulele. It's imperative that the court allows the witness to elaborate on the testimony, because the true significance of Mr. McGilded's porns article must be brought to light. Very well, my learned student friend. Given the depths of calamity you've just plunged yourself into, this may well be worth hearing.
Words fail me. This situation is utterly deplorable. Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes, my lord.
I will decide upon your fate following the conclusion of this trial.
Of course, my lord. Blimey, Mr. Naruhodo.
Now, counsel, proceed with the cross-examination.
So this seems like we're going to have to press everything to basically get us out of trouble. But that should reveal some good stuff. So that Brickmaker was in the cabin in the omnibus the whole time. What did you hear him talking about? And you were hiding in the cabin at the time as well, weren't you, Mr. Lestrade? If I remember rightly, in the storage compartment underneath one of the seats. Yeah, that's right. It's pitch black under there, so you can't see nothing at all.
Now, in your testimony 2 months ago, I feel certain that you claim Mr. McGilded was the sole passenger, did you not?
False testimony, my lord. That's what he told me I had to say. But it's important that you tell us the truth now. Were Mr. McGilded and the victim acquaintances? I know. But I did hear him talking a lot. What were they talking about? Well, I couldn't hear too well, but if I had to say, I think it was about money or something. He kept talking about buying and not buying.
Perhaps business dealings of some kind.
Well, anyway, they got louder and louder. It started to sound like a proper fight. I was pretty scared by then. I had to dare to breathe. And then, all of a sudden, I had a noise like someone keeling over on the floor. Blooming loud and all.
And I believe you let out an involuntary scream?
Yeah. That's what gave me away. Okay, up next. When the Irishman dragged me out from under the seat, I saw that disc on the floor. Bam! Whose was it? Was the disc you saw this disc? Yeah, reckon it probably was. It was right next to the cuff line on the floor.
Could this disc have belonged to the victim, perhaps?
I know, but Mr. McGilder picked up pretty smartish. Oh, hang about. And then he sat the cover with a knife in his belly up on the seat. What did he say to you at that time? He told me not to say a word about what I'd seen or heard to no one, and about the disc and all. I was dead scared. Well, he was looking at me. I thought, if I didn't go on with it, I might get stuck with that knife too. Then he started asking me loads of questions, like what my name was, and where I lived and that. He asked me about being a diver too. But after a while, what had happened in the carriage was noticed. Yeah, that's right. First was a kind of rapping noise. Huh? All of a sudden I heard a scream from over my head and the power on the roof went off to call the slops. I'm going to skip pressing that for now, and that's when Mr. McGill had slipped the driver some tins to do a run to the pawn shop about. Wasn't it you that did it though? That pawn shop obviously being Winterbanks on Baker Street.
Just a moment, counsel. Do you mean to tell me that the driver gave false testimony in that trial as well?
Perhaps the excursions to the pawnbrokery slipped his mind when he was in the stand.
Indeed, Lord Van Zeeks.
Mr. McGilder took off his coat and gave it to the driver. He folded it up, all careful-like, before handing it over. When I saw him do that, I remember thinking, that coat and what's in, it's got to be worth a few bob. Yeah, Jean was sure the disc must be worth more than Mr. Winterbank was suggesting, wasn't she? I remember her quibbling with him over the price that afternoon at the pawnbrokery. Driver looked pretty happy when Mr. McGilder flashed some brass in his face. He went running off at a lick. Then the box trotter called me and asked me to come out from the driver's cabin. And then he threatened me not to snitch, not to say nothing to no one about what I'd seen or heard. So he prepped your testimony though. Threatened you how exactly? Told me I'd only be able to scarper if I did exactly what he said. Which included giving false testimony in court 2 months ago. Yeah, that's it. And there was one other thing he said. Which was... He told me I have to hang on to the ticket from the pawn shop and make sure not to lose it.
The ticket? Well, I never.
Said that if he didn't show up to get the ticket off me before 2 months passed, I had to go to the pawn shop and pay the money to keep it in lug, stop it being forfeited. He left me with some brass to pay for it.
But really, why on earth would Mr. McGilder have done such a thing? Depositing his own overcoat with a pawnbroker before the arrival of the police. It makes no sense at all.
There would seem to be only one logical explanation, my lord. What Mr. McGilder had the driver deposit at Winterbanks was something he didn't want the police to see. Something very important that he needed to hide at all costs. Anyway, after that he let me go, so I liked it before the coppers showed up. Okay. Well done, Gina. Can't have been easy to tell the truth like that.
Ginny's really put her faith in you, Runo.
Yes, and to thank her, she'll have to face a charge of perjury once this trial's over. So I need to use the time we have now to get as much information out of her as possible.
It's time to really go for it. Press one every statement.
I suppose I should.
Oh, and another thing.
What's that?
Take a look at those two. Isn't it strange that they've been whispering to each other the entire time?
Yes, that is strange. Looks like they're having a secret discussion about something. I'm not sure I'm completely comfortable with that. I wonder if there's anything I can do about it. Ooh. Okay, we're going to press that third statement then at Ginny's suggestion. There were 2 gentlemen occupying the seats on the roof deck, I believe. That's right.
He must have looked down through the skylight and noticed the cove with a knife in his guts. When they screamed, the driver pulled up the horses. Mr. McGilder got me out of sight.
Out of sight? Where?
Back under the seat where I started off. Once the carriage came to an halt, 2 cuffs from the roof ran off to fetch the slops. If they immediately left to fetch the police, it would appear they were entirely unrelated to the incident. So that left Mr. McGilder, the driver, and you still at the scene. Yeah, the driver didn't know I was there because I was under the seat. I heard the cabin door open and a voice from outside.
The driver, yes. He also testified in the trial, I believe. Fellow who went by the name of Beppo, if memory serves.
What did Mr. McGilder and the driver say to each other? I know what happened and stuff like that, mainly. Okay, that's when Mr. McGilder slipped the driver's tin to do so run his post right phone switch. Seen or heard. Okay, so we need to present something now, and I feel as though that last sentence is good, but they're in the thing the whole time, that doesn't contradict anything. Jeremy from the disc on the floor, scream from overhead, they run off.
slipped the driver some tin to runs to the pawn shop roundabout. You threatened me not to snitch, not to say nothing to no one about what I'd seen or heard. Was that possibly the disc? I'm going to hate if I get this wrong, but I feel as though it's seen or heard. It would have to be that, right? No. Oh, okay. Yeah, no. Rinosuke, your eyes are definitely not hiding the fact you are, you know, definitely incorrect. Well, you know, it's me being incorrect, but, you know, the case remains the same. No, the facts remain the same. So, you threatened me not to snitch, not to say nothing to about what I'd seen or heard. We need to present something, obviously, but the question is, with what? So, armband, pawnbroker's ticket. I mean, she's already spoken about that, so I don't know, actually. What would it be? Storyman, no. The coat ticket. Let me think. Could it be that the coat was deposited out of order? Because redemption ticket issued for the pawnbroker owned by the victim, Mr. Winterbank, the blood on it has been identified as Mr. Mason's. But why is Mr. Mason's blood on the thing? I don't know. That seems like it's out of order, but it doesn't seem like the right thing to present. So, let's actually... Threatened you how exactly? See, I would have thought, right, it was set up that, you know, these two over here, they're on the stand for a reason. They specifically asked Greyson, or whatever his name is, to go and... No, Graydon? Yeah. No, Gregson and Graydon. Can I...
Excuse me.
Hang about. Is there something you'd like to share with the court, Inspector Gregson and Mr. Graydon? Because they haven't reacted at all to when we've pressed. Which I thought they would have. Inspector! Mr. Graydon!
What? Blimey, you trying to give me a heart attack?
You've been whispering to each other for quite some time now. Tell us, what is the discussion about?
Discussion? With this fella? All the other ones, Sunshine. You think I've got anything to talk about with a shady gent like this?
And I have nothing to say to this uncouth detective after he deprived me of that disc which was rightfully mine. But they've clearly been talking the entire time I've been cross-examining Gina. It's as if they've been negotiating. Ooh.
Thank you, Mr. Lestrade. Thank you, Counsel. I've heard enough.
So, wait, that was the right move? I was just going to do that to see if they hinted. Right, okay.
I believe we now have a reasonable understanding of what actually transpired on the omnibus.
It would appear that on that night 2 months ago, a negotiation was taking place on the omnibus. A negotiation concerning this disc. However, matters did not run smoothly. When the parties involved began to quarrel over price, Mr. McGilder took what he wanted by force, at the expense of the other man's life. Which proved my point. This is clearly extremely valuable in some way, although I don't understand why as yet. And 2 days ago, precisely 2 months after the omnibus incident, Mr. McGilder's coats and its contents were due to be forfeited. I know what I should do with his ticket. I mean, could die right after his trial. I knew that. So, you decided you would try to claim the articles as your own. Well, why not, eh? They're only going to be forfeited. Why shouldn't I have got them? Anyway, can't blame me for thinking about it. Thinking it ain't no crime.
Miss Lestrade, it would appear Mr. McGilder was prepared to kill in order to take possession of this disc. Do you know why that would be?
Eh? I ain't got a clue. But I reckon it must be worth a fair bit of brass. He was probably going to sell it. And you can't blame me for thinking that. Thinking ain't no crime.
My lord. The evidence your lordship requested has been located and is ready for the court's inspection, sir.
Ooh. Okay. We were stalling for time, but we've successfully done it. The mysterious little box deposited by McGilder 2 months ago. There's no doubt in my mind that it's a key piece in this far-reaching puzzle. be continued. Okay, so obviously we're not going to stop there. We're only on minute 20, but I think we maybe just have one episode left after this one, which is scary to think. But you know, it doesn't matter. So I'm gonna learn from my mistakes and save in a separate save slot. My mic's been having issues lately, so I'm thinking ahead. Clever. Right, let's do this then. Here's the box.
So this is the article in question, is it? The small box deposited within the pawnbroker by Mr. McGilded 2 months ago.
And on the night of Mr. Winterbank's murder, the only item on the shelves that was touched by whoever broke into the shop. Quick, let's open it and see what's inside. Oh, okay, do I need to, like, examine it, or...
Good gracious, this is no ordinary box, it seems.
Wow, although, in truth, I had an inkling that might be the case. It would appear that the box houses a miniature music box movement.
Then, is it too much to expect?
I think it would be reasonable to assume that this is a device for the playback of this disc, my lord.
So, here we have the means to play back Mr. McGilded's disc deposited at Winterbanks at much the same time.
Not strictly correct, my lord. It was not Mr. McGilded's disc. It was the disc of his victim in the omnibus.
But why, for heaven's sake? Are we to understand that the brickmaker was trying to sell his music box disc to Mr. McGilded?
I believe that the answer will become clear if we listen to the music on the disc, my lord.
Yes, very well. Let the court now listens to this curious disc at last.
Wait, my lord.
Good grief, what is the meaning of this, Inspector?
The music box and the disc are, well, they're unrelated to the case.
No need to spoil the somber atmosphere in the courtroom with some silly bit of music.
This may very well have motivated the culprit in the case to commit murder. Clearly, there's every chance it's fundamentally important to understanding what happened. The prosecution has no objection.
But no, that piece of evidence is police property now. You can't.
Clearly, Scotland Yard has some vested interest here, but it is policy of this prosecutor to leave no avenues unexplored. And you, Inspector, have no jurisdiction here to prevent that from happening.
Rah! No further delays, please. Play the disc.
Okay. Let's go. Do we need to take the tape off?
What on earth? That's certainly not what I would call music.
No. It's just the same note playing over and over again in an irregular sequence.
Mr. Greyson?
This really is priceless. After all that, the music box is broken. Broken? It can't be, can it? Well, obviously, in fact, I wouldn't be surprised. If the officer sent to fetch it didn't drop it on the way back to the courtroom.
Well, with that much regret, I feel the court must accept that this music box offers little in the way of clues. Are you ready to move on, counsel?
Come on. Yes, alright, it does sound as though it's completely broken, but is it? Could this music emanating from the music box possibly be a new clue? Yes. Unfortunately, we have a Morse code interpreter. I believe that it could be relevant, my lord.
Good lord, but how could it be? It's an abomination, counsel. Mere noise. I fail to see how it can have any meaning whatsoever.
It does sound strange, I agree, but there's one thing bothering me. While Greyson stands there chortling victoriously, the inspector beside him has a rather telling expression on his face. It's as if Gregson recognizes the sound, as if he's familiar with it somehow. And that's making him appear extremely on edge. If that's the stance of the defense, my Nipponese friend, answer me this. Oh. just what relevance do you propose this woeful chiming has on the case? It's the defense's belief that the sound emanating from this music box is... well, I mean, it's obviously not supposed to be music. Just because this is a music box doesn't necessarily mean the sounds we're hearing are music. Look at that. The smile vanished from Graydon's lips as soon as I said it. I'm on the right lines here. I must be. Making deductions based on how people react to what you say. You're acting just like Hurley, Bruno.
Objection!
The sounds we're hearing aren't necessarily music. Well, now that you've told us what they are not. I'm sure the court would like to hear what they are. Do enlighten us, my Nipponese friend. Well, surely you have an idea in mind, because if not, it will be the death of your ill-formed argument. Exactly. The music box is clearly broken. Refusing to accept that fact is pure foolishness. They've got me! I don't know what the answer is. Bruno? I've just examined the music box very thoroughly. And I'm fairly certain that it's not broken at all. Really? Really? The way it's been made, it can only produce a single note anyway. Thank you, Iris. Oh. Alright, well if the music box isn't broken, it must mean that the sounds it's producing have some significance that isn't musical. Oh! Could it be? Is that what these sounds are? He's finally caught on. Something's just struck me, Bruno. I feel like recently, in the past few hours even, I've heard another sound very much like the one this music box makes. Yes, it's a familiar sound. Actually, Iris, I was just thinking the exact same thing.
I'm going to have to press the defense for an answer. If your assertion is that the sound produced by this music box is not in fact music at all, then what the devil is it, counsel?
All the evidence we've seen so far, all the testimony we've heard, it's all pointing to one single answer now. The prosecution demands that my learned Nipponese friend presents proof now. Tangible proof of this latest wild speculation. Alright then. This could be the best chance I'm going to get to fight back in this trial. And if I'm right, it's going to join all the dots together. The evidence that explains the true nature of the sounds on this music box disc is... am I going to have to... we don't have access to the music box? Hold the phone, that's mildly concerning. Ooh, do we have anything that says Morse code? Smooth bullet turns green when analyzed. Shown says won't be any of those. Today's paper. Let's see. Nothing on here, is there? Okay, no, nothing. Not on the back. Can't find anything out of place. No, it highlights that. What is it? There's a sensational story down the front page as well. Ministry Mole. Classified secrets may have been leaked overseas for Ministry of Justice. For a 10-year-old, Iris certainly has her finger on the pulse of world news. It's about secret communications between Great Britain and its allies. Apparently they're being intercepted by hostile nations. Communications are being intercepted, but how would somebody be doing that? That's the question, isn't it? I've come up with 3 different possible methods so far. Are you looking for a new career, Bruno? No, of course not. I wonder, perhaps this is what Lord Strongheart was talking about yesterday? Yes, it could be, and it'd explain why he has Grexy running from pillar to post at the moment. Ooh. Ooh.
Take that! Today's paper, counsel. The headline is, Pawnbroker perishes in pick-purse plunder. Hardly supportive of your cause.
No, my lord. I was hoping you'd look a little further down the page.
Further down? Ministry Mole, classified secrets may have been leaked overseas for Ministry of Justice. Yes, this is a very serious matter being investigated at the highest level, I understand.
I have heard that the international transmissions along supposedly secure lines are somehow being intercepted and leaked to various other countries. And presumably those transmissions are in the form of wired telegrams. Of course. Juror number 5, your input, please. Stop. Oh, me, sir? Whatever is the matter? You told the court before that you worked at the same communication station as Mr. Greyson, did you not? Yes, that's correct. And the particular station where you work deals with government communications and newspaper reports. Oh yes, we're not your run-of-the-mill communication station at all. Our work is extremely important. Then tell me, is this not a very familiar sound? You don't mean to say, is it? That's right, madame. It bears more than a passing resemblance to the sound made by your telegraph machine as you type it. I believe it's called Morse code. But I don't believe it. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but when it comes to leaking telegrams from government departments, there could be nobody more perfectly placed than a highly skilled communications officer. Are you suggesting that the music box disc contains stolen government secrets in Morse code?
Order, order, please everyone, order. But this is high treason, Council, deserving of capital punishment.
Too much new vocabulary. What is treason and what is capital punishment?
The sort of words I'd half expect you to know. For our sovereign government's confidential information, hostile nations would surely pay almost any price.
Yes, and on that night 2 months ago, that was the very negotiation that was taking place inside the omnibus. But in the end, Mr. McGill had perished, and the all-important disc lay unclaimed in the pawnbrokery.
My word.
In which case, whoever stole that information in the first place must surely have been beside himself with worry, because if the disc were to be discovered before it found its way out of this country,
it would reveal an act of high treason punishable by death.
So the culprit had no choice but to retrieve it, and in order to do that, he would have to gain entrance to the pawnbrokery illegally in the middle of the night. Because the article left behind by Mr. McGill would incriminate him too much if it got into the wrong hands. Isn't that right, Mr. Greyson? You think I've been stealing government secrets? Preposterous. Absolutely preposterous.
So, in response to the defense's accusation, you claim complete innocence, do you?
Well, of course I do. I have to stand here in silence while that pretentious foreign lawyer is prattling away.
Objection!
Then by all means, counter the charges, sir. The prosecution demands the witness testifies in response to the accusations brought by the defense. Ooh, okay. Delighted, I'm sure.
The witness is reminded that all crime under scrutiny in the trial was the murder of the pawnbroker Mr. Winterbank, that being a most flagitious offence of which the law of this land sanctions a capital punishment. But the heinous act of high treason is no less serious a crime. I urge you to bear this in mind as you testify, Mr. Greyson. So then, let us proceed. You may...
You gotta let us have a rabbit in a poke here, Governor. We got things to say.
I beg your pardon. Who do you think you are?
Name's Ash Skulkin. Occupation is professional baddie. Name's Ringo Skulkin. We ain't baddies enough to sell our motherland. That's right. We're what they call the Three Skulkin Brothers.
Bad timing, fellas. Very bad timing.
Okay. Witness testimony. Let's get it. A mere communications officer couldn't possibly steal confidential government information. Besides, the sounds produced by that music box aren't even Morse code. It was some low-class brickmaker negotiating with Mr. McGill anyway, was it not? I've got no relation to the man. Look, all we done is break into the gaff the other night like what he told us to. If we know it was our dodgy government secrets were involved, we wouldn't have touched it. Okay. I think we press a lot there and we wait until they crack.
Mr. and Mr. Skulkin.
Oh, Mr. I'll do, Governor. What's up?
Do I take it that you now admit to the crime? That on the night in question, you did indeed gain entries to the premises illegally. And moreover, you did so as a party of 3 in collaboration with Mr. Greyson here.
We did, Gov, we did.
Okay.
Quieten down, please. What say you to that, Mr. Greyson?
I have no idea what these 2 ruffians are referring to.
You little rotter getting us mixed up in all this monkey business. You never said nothing about no government secrets. It was supposed to be a straight up job. And what about the gator shop it was, eh? Poor old boy didn't have to die, did he?
Oh. Nice to know who your friends are. Whatever these men say, I deny the accusations.
Indeed. Well, I certainly wasn't expecting this little music box to become so significant in the proceedings. However, as it has, I will admit it into the court record as evidence.
Okay. Let's go. Let's go. So, first things first, a May Communications officer couldn't possibly steal confidential government information. Wrong. You definitely can. So, this newspaper headline accurate? Government communications are being intercepted. How could I possibly know? What do you mean by that? Any important government communications are handled by a high-level official, by specialists. General members of staff in the station where I work would never be entrusted with sensitive information. Oh no, stop. Must say something. Stop. Let me guess. Juror number 5. Where regular communication station officers aren't as lowly as you're being led to believe. A team of us are responsible for setting up and testing the telegraphs used by the Ministry, and Mr. Greyson is the team leader. That's fascinating. Greyson is a highly skilled operator. Stop. Currently in presence of idol. Stop.
So you had access to the equipment used for these confidential informations, Mr. Greyson?
Well, what of it? Transitions are always made behind closed doors so they can't be heard. And in any case, law messages sent enciphered. Normal employees couldn't possibly understand them. Oh no, stop. Must say something. Stop. Mr. Greyson regularly attends meetings with Ministry technicians and the Ministry Communications team. He assists them in ensuring that there are no errors in important internal communications. And he's received the top prize at the cipher cracking convention 5 years in a row now. That's fascinating. Greyson is a highly skilled operator. Stop. Currently present as idol. Stop. Well, your idol would appreciate it if you'd kept your mouth shut. She should really pick her idols more carefully. I tell you, this lawyer's accusations are completely unfounded. Okay, up next. Besides, the sound produced by that music box aren't even Morse code. I'll take you up on that offer. They're not. To anyone with a brain, that would be blatantly apparent to listening to the music box for even a few seconds. Of course, of course. Surely it can't be that my learned friend isn't familiar with Morse code. Ouch. He looks genuinely shocked at my ignorance. I would be more than happy to demonstrate the basics for you, sir. A lesson? Here in court? Morse code is a continuous series of 2 distinct tones. Tones, you say? Yes, a short dot and a long dash. By combining those in different ways, you can construct letters. I see. For example, this is an A. And this is B. But when you listen to the sound produced by this music box, you only hear one tone, don't you? But it sounds so similar. The rhythm of it is the same in everything. But there's no discernible meanings. There's apparently a random sequence of sounds. So your assertion is fundamentally flawed. This is not Morse code. No! Really, you shouldn't be so surprised. What did I tell you? That music box is nothing but a worthless piece of scrap. Perhaps you might consider studying your subject matter before casting aspersions in the future. Ugh, stop. Nothing to say, but stop. Oh, it's so frustrating, isn't it? Iris? I mean, if the government secrets were somehow being leaked using the music box, so many other things would slot into place so nicely. Could there still be something I haven't considered? Would it really be impossible to use this music box somehow to play back Morse code? Give it a try? I mean, sure.
there's still every possibility that this music box was instrumental in the leaking of government secrets. That's the belief of the defense, at least.
Objection.
Does it please you in some way, my Nipponese friend, to repeat the same line of argument ad infinitum? It's already been established that to be Morse code, 2 tones are required, dots and dashes. Yes, I'm well aware of that. Then what?
Well, it would appear the defense has a hypothesis to put forward. You had better present your idea at once, counsel. How do you propose that this music box, which appears to produce only a single tone, could have been used to cipher secret messages into Morse code?
Okay, so, if we have a look, it would obviously... This is one music player. Oh, hello. Oh, what is it, Runo? I've just noticed something about this music box. It looks like the bottom of it opens up as well. Ah, you're right. Well, come on then, what are you waiting for? Oh, let's open it. Alright then, here goes. Look at that! There's another movement on the other side. So, does that mean you can set another disc to play back on this side? Yes, I think so. It looks like the 2 movements are linked together. They're linked? So if you had 2 discs, they would both play back at the same time. Oh! Hello.
Got it!
Good gracious, what am I looking at here? Another movement on the other side of the music box?
What? It appears, my lord, that the 2 movements are linked together. In other words, you can put 2 discs in this music box. And the sounds of both will play back at the exact same time!
Good heavens!
As the court has heard, Morse code comprises of 2 tones, a short dot and a long dash. With a second disc in place, this music box could be used to generate Morse code and convey a message.
This is beyond a joke.
I'm sorry? This poor excuse for a lawyer has absolutely no evidence to support his claims. Though, of course, if my learned friend were able to present the court with the second disc, it would be another matter. Well, I can't at the moment. And may I remind the court that, as the witness has pointed out, he was not the one in the omnibus with Mr. McGilder 2 months ago striking a deal over the disc or discs.
Indeed, that was Mr. Mason, the brickmaker.
Exactly. I had nothing whatsoever to do with it.
Though it has holes, I must admit the argument presented by the defense has much promise. I believe the cross-examination should continue.
The link between Greyson and the victim of the omnibus case must be there somewhere, but I haven't found it yet. Oh dear. Looks like you need to give your argument some more strength, Runo.
You will reiterate your testimony if you please, Mr. Greyson.
Okay. Though I must, I thoroughly maintain exactly what I did at the start of this pointless cross-examination. Okay. It was some low-class brickmaker negotiating with Mr. McGilder anyway, was it not? We can't prove that just yet, I don't think. Then what have you got? Look, all we done is break into the gaff the other night like what he told us to do. He's still denying he broke in. Can we get something out of that? Like Mr. Greyson told you to do, you mean? That's it? Yeah? Who else, eh? Chill me thought it was just popping over a natter after all them years, but Rotter had a dodgy job for us. Ash. Let me stop you there, Mr. Skulkin. After all them years, you say? Do you mean to tell me that Mr. Greyson is an acquaintance of yours? That's what we're waiting for. We're social kind of baddies, you know? Sure, let's say Grayson's an old China. What?
Excuse me.
What? Is something wrong, Mr. Skulkin? Eh? No, the other Mr. Skulkin. What? Oh, me? When your brother was testifying just now, he said something that seemed to cause you to react. Oh, I was just remembering the old days, that's all. We used to have a rat all laugh together back when. Together with Mr. Greyson, you mean? Yeah, with Ash. I mean, look at him now, his fancy whistle and flute, and you wouldn't have an animal beneath it. But when he was younger, he was from the poor part of town, just like us. Is that so? But he was so everyone. He had the brains, he had the savvy. Always coming up with smart ideas like what would never have gone through our heads. Oh, by me, isn't that the truth? Remember Milverton and Skulkin's milk run? That was cool corker, eh? Save it until after the trial. Your reminiscing has no place in this courtroom. And neither does your fruit. Oi, Geezer asked us a question, didn't he? And we was answering. Yeah, we ain't done nothing wrong.
Nevertheless, the court is not prepared to accompany you on your trip down memory lane. Counsel, can we turn our attention back to the testimony, please?
I don't know, could that sentimental story be relevant somehow? Add it to the testimony because I think we just got a name thrown in there, which is very helpful. My lord.
Yes, counsel.
The brother's last sentimental statement could hold vital information relating to this case.
Very well, counsel. I will permit the brothers to supplement this testimony with that detail. Briefly, I hasten to add.
Say no more. A skulkin's never skulkin. Okay. Milverton and Skulkin's milk run, go them were the days. And if we were to just, hypothetically go on the cases, and the thing of the initial case... Huh. Milverton. So... do we press this? I'm going to press this just to be cautious. Yeah. Okay. I'm sure I'm going to regret asking, but what exactly was that? Some kind of business? Just a little scheme we had going back when we were youngsters. A bit of fun, really. Delivering fresh milk to the locals. That's what it was all about. That sounds alarmingly legitimate. There must be a catch. I suppose since we're here, I should ask them to elaborate, but on what? The business model, the business name, I'll leave it. I'm gonna do the business name, just for the sake of it. So, this business was just a bit of fun, you say? And it was just yourselves and Mr. Greyson involved? Yeah, that's it. Milverton and Skulkin's milk run, was it? Yeah, that's it. And where did the Milverton part come from? Oh, right. I thought a clever cogs like you worked that one out. That's his. Enough of this. How much longer are we expected to listen to this drivel? I don't... Let me guess. You don't accept anything these two witnesses are saying? Tell me, why is it that it was only at the mention of the name Milverton that you decided to interject? Because well... It weren't the happiest ones that came from. His old man was struggling for money so much, his wife walked out on him. She took the name Greyson NC, but Ash will always be Milverton to us. Milverton. So that used to be your surname, did it? Of course not, this is all bunkum. I've been a Greyson since I was born. Do you really think you can rely on the testimony of these two thieves? You're a communications officer attached to the civil service. As such, your personal details will have been thoroughly checked at the time of your appointment. It would be a very simple matter indeed to subpoena those records, Mr. Greyson.
Oh. Well, it would appear that Mr. and Mr. Skulkin's testimony has been reliable, for once. You were born Ashley Milverton, then. Is that correct?
Very well, yes. So Ashley Greyson was once Ashley Milverton. That information could change things, and could turn out to be extremely important. Ashley Greyson's personal profile has been updated in the court record. Okay. Let's get this. So, all of a sudden we seem to be up to our next in a serious matter of national security, although all this talk about interception of secret government messages is still just conjecture at this stage. It would explain a number of things though, wouldn't it? The negotiation Jeannie overheard on the omnibus 2 months ago and the break-in at Winterbanks. But the trouble is, it wasn't Mr. Greyson in the omnibus with Mr. McGill did. No, that was Mr. Mason. The brickmaker was so horribly murdered. If only there was some link between the two men somehow. I know, but Mr. Greyson's testimony seems to be as watertight as ever. I wonder if the Keys was making headway with the cross-examination here. Could be those two brothers. Alright. So, let's go back to that third statement. It was some low-class brickmaker negotiating with McGilded anyway. I've no relation to the man. Are you sure? Mr. Ashley Milverton, tell me, why did you try to hide your former name from the court? Because I haven't gone by that name for years. It means nothing to me. No, I don't think that's the real explanation at all. The truth is, you had a reason to hide that name.
Explain yourself, please, counsel.
I have here the notes from the omnibus case, my lord. And as we all know, the victim, the man who we now understand to have been negotiating with Mr. McGilded.
Yes, Mr. Mason, the brickmaker.
That's right, only Mason wasn't his surname at all, it was his given name. His full name was Mason Milverton.
Milverton? Do you mean to say, saints alive?
Mr. Ashley Milverton, is it not the case that the brickmaker, Mr. Mason Milverton, was your father?
Oh, I don't...
As I believe I mentioned earlier, your family history will have been thoroughly checked when you joined the civil service, and it really would take no time at all for the court to subpoena those records. The truth is, you've been illegally acquiring highly confidential government information and selling it on to Mr. McGilded in collaboration with your father.
Ugh.
The new fact and evidence unveiled by the cross-examination of this witness all come together to reveal the truth. The truth, you say. That you collaborated with your father, Mr. Mason Milverton, in illegal dealings with Magnus McGilded.
By dint of this music box, you mean, counsel?
Yes, stealing information being sent in secret government communications and selling it on to Mr. McGilded. Mr. Graydon concocted the elaborate scheme of using 2 music box discs to encode this information, as presumably a safety measure against the information falling into the wrong hands.
A very effective one. I shouldn't have given the scheme any credence whatsoever.
But the deal with Mr. McGilded went sour, and the brickmaker met his end. Yes, but before he was arrested, McGilded managed to temporarily dispose of the stolen disc at the pawnbroker. Then, having learned of the situation, you appeared at Winterbanks 2 days ago, in an attempt to recover the 2 articles Mr. McGilded had placed in there. But that attempt failed. One of the discs was seized by the police, and the other you never found. So that same night, you enlisted the help of the Skulkin Brothers and broke into the pawnbrokery. This time determined to recover the second disc.
Oh, are you suggesting that the second disc was inside the music box?
Eh? We never knew nothing about that. On the night that Mr. Winterbank was killed, the intruders to the pawnbrokery touched one item and one item alone, the music box.
Rather ingeniously demonstrated using the 2 prints from the security camera indeed.
So the question that naturally begs answering is this: why was only that one article disturbed? The answer is obvious, because it contained the second disc, which the intruder was desperate to receive. Since, if it were to fall into the hands of the police, it would be proof of high treason. Well, Mr. Graydon, do you deny that all of this actually began on that fateful night 2 months ago?
I
refuse to accept any of this nonsense. Sir, there appears to be blood seeping through the sleeve of your jacket.
But...
2 nights ago, we know that 3 shots were fired at the scene of the crime in Winterbank's pawnbrokery. 1 took the life of the pawnbroker himself. 1 struck the pouch around Mr. Sholmes' waist. And the final bullet struck the calendar on the wall of the shop, having first pierced the arm of one of the intruders. Mr. Graydon, that wound on your arm that you seem to be trying to hide, it's a bullet wound, isn't it? He's got you now, me old China. I'm to call it quits and crook, I reckon. Don't acknowledge my presence there under any circumstances whatsoever. Those were my terms, remember, and I paid you handsomely to comply. Clearly, I was a fool to think I could trust some common backslum thieves. Fine, I admit it. I was there in Winterbanks that night. I paid this pair 10 guineas to accompany me, and as you've noticed, I sustained an injury in the course of my adventures. But that is all! I admit nothing more. Stealing government secrets, negotiating with Mr. McGilded. As God is my witness, I'm sure I recall nothing of the sort. He's not going to go down without a fight. Not until I can show hard evidence, I suppose. Nevertheless, the defense has now established a crucial fact. Which is... well, we know that one bullet was fired from each of the 2 firearms at the scene. The bullet from the Skulkin Brothers' gun hit the pouch around Mr. Sholmes' waist. And the bullet from Mr. Winterbank's gun clearly must have been the one that caught Mr. Greyson on the arm.
Indeed it must. We can rule out the possibility that the man shot himself.
And that leads us to one conclusion. Mr. Winterbank was shot by a 3rd gun, which can only have been fired by the 3rd intruder.
Goodness!
That's right, Mr. Greyson.
Grr.
The only person who could have possibly shot Mr. Winterbank that night is you!
Hold it.
You little upstart. You've made a grave mistake when you summoned me here. What? What's that supposed to mean? Yes, as you rightly say, I was there at the pawnbroker's. I did my best to hide the fact, naturally. I had no intention of ruining the distinguished career I'd built for myself at the communication station. But did the thought never cross your mind? Did you ever consider the possibility? What do you mean? What thought? What possibility? The possibility that if I was there at the scene, I may have witnessed the crucial moment. You see, this makes me a key witness in this case, and I have my hands firmly around the neck of your client. What?
Are you suggesting?
I saw it all. I saw the very moment that pickpocket girl pointed out the gun at the poor defenseless pawnbroker and shot him. You... What?!
Order! Well, it would seem we are finally entering the last act of this theatrical trial.
Mr. Greyson. Yes. I trust you are fully aware of the implications here. If it is shown your claim is false, you will have incriminated yourself as the killer. Oh, I understand fully.
Then I must ask you to give your formal testimony once more. You will explain to the court precisely what you saw at the moment the defendant allegedly shot the victim.
Nothing would give me greater pleasure. Oh, we're sending him to prison. We're sending him to prison so badly. Whilst these ruffians were jostling with the broker, I was still near the entrance to the shop. When Winterbank threw Nash over the counter, I felt a sharp pain in my arm. I pursued the man, but he shut himself in the storeroom. I could see him through the peephole in the door, though. The accused, in a black coat, shot the man in the back as he was trying to flee to safety. I saw the blood splatter all over that wretched girl. Then she tossed the gun out of the peephole, so I picked it up and made my escape.
What? Good gracious, this is quite extraordinary testimony. You claim, sir, under oath, to have clearly seen the defendant pulling the trigger? Order!
It wasn't my intention to testify in this way. But neither is it my intention to be found guilty of a murder I didn't commit. So, you see, my hand has been forced. I tell the truth now as an act of self-preservation. The truth Until now, the prosecution was completely unaware of these details.
Yes, well, sorry about that.
Having shot me in the arm, the pawnbroker was then shot in the back by the accused. And, as I said, she was showered in his blood. You say the blood splattered over the accused coat. Are you sure on that point? Oh yes, quite sure. All over the black overcoat that pickpocket girl was wearing at the time.
Really? If her coat could somehow be shown to harbour vestiges of blood, that would be conclusive evidence here.
Such an investigation is entirely possible, my lord. What? Only very recently, a German scientist has developed a technique to identify human blood. So here's the true science, not some amateurish detective's dubious foray into the world of chemistry. There's nothing dubious about Hurley's work. His ideas are all sound-ish. Ideas are no use to us in here. In science, as in law, theories must be proven before they stand. In Germany, the technique has already been employed in the courtroom as basis of evidence. Scotland Yard has a small quantity of the chemical reagent used, with your lordship's permission. We could shatter all vestiges of doubt within minutes. This doesn't look good, Bruno. Why not? Well, we know, don't we, that there's blood all over the front of Ginny's coat. If they test it with their chemicals... Oh, help! You're right. I was forgetting what happened yesterday. Don't move, Ginny. I'm gonna shoot. But that's not Mr. Winterbank's blood. That stain is from 2 months ago. That's Mr. Mason's blood from when he was stabbed by Mr. McGilded, who was wearing the coat at the time. My lord, the defense objects to the test proposed by the prosecution.
Overruled. Lord Van Zooks, make it so at once.
With pleasure, my lord.
And while we await the results, the defense may proceed with the cross-examination.
Oh, we need to move quick. Okay, yeah. Once they find the blood in the overcoat, Gina will be...
Counsel!
Yes, my lord!
Your cross-examination.
We gotta go quick. We gotta go fast. We got to remain optimal. Because if we do not, we are in trouble. If I don't manage to uncover some decisive evidence or a really compelling clue now, I have a very bad feeling about the outcome of this trial. Let's go. Cross-examination. So, I think the strat is to press everything, and again wait for the other brothers to mess up. So, let's go. Mr. Winterbank emerged from the storeroom, I believe. Ringo and Nash were scouring the council when he suddenly appeared and flew at them. He already had the revolver in his hand. Fortunately, I wasn't too close. I've never been so scared in all my life. Yeah, we were just your regular, mild-mannered burglars, that's all. We don't like violence. Says the pair who carry a gun. What do you mean when you say you were near the entrance to the shop? I was in the doorway running my eyes over the shelves of forfeited items. Looking for the music box, of course. The broker went for Nash in the first place, then Ringo joined in, making it 2 against 1, so I assumed they could handle the situation. But I was wrong. I was trying to walk me little brother, but the old geezer tripped me over the blooming counter. So I helped him pull me gun on the old fella, and that soon made him scarper.
The pair of you settling upon the poor defenseless pawnbroker together, shame on you!
Sorry, Gov.
When Winterbank threw Nash over the counter, I felt a sharp pain in my arm.
Let's go. How's that work? You mean that's the moment you were shot? Yes, though I didn't immediately realise what had happened, of course. Things crashed to the floor from the counter as the 3 men were brawling. It was exactly that moment that it happened, so I didn't hear the gunshot. And the bullet went on to strike the calendar in the wall behind you. So it would appear. When I looked at my arm, I saw it was bleeding badly, so I wrapped my handkerchief around it. Seeing as I couldn't explain what had happened to a doctor, I had no choice but to wait for it to heal. I didn't imagine it would still be bleeding 2 days later. Did Mr. Winterbank intend to shoot you, do you think? Well now, I don't imagine he even noticed I was there, to be honest. Perhaps the gun went off accidentally. Anyway, it didn't quite strike home. When I pulled my gun on him, he tried to shove me out of the way.
And then he scampered through that door at the back. At which point, what did you do?
Okay. I pursued the man, but he shut himself in the storeroom. I could see him through the peephole in the door, though. Okay. You mean you chased after him? I don't recall the reason why, but I ran after him to the back of the shop. And what about this peephole in the door you mentioned?
Well, unsurprisingly, the room store is a solid job, made of stout wood. Well, there's a small opening in it about head height that leaves to see what you want in there from the outside.
Actually, I should know that, shouldn't I? I looked through it myself that night. Uh-huh. And what about you burgling brothers? Did you see what went on through this peephole as well?
No, not likely, Gov. Didn't see nothing of the sort, Gov.
I doubt these two buffoons are even aware of the peephole's existence. So the Skulkin Brothers were there, but they didn't see the killing of Mr. Winterbank take place? Inside the storeroom, I could see the broker and that young girl standing there.
The defendant?
Yes, though neither of them noticed that I was looking. The girl raised her gun and pointed it straight at the man.
And then, what do you see next?
The accused in a black coat shot the man in the back as he was trying to flee to safety. Yes, when the crime was discovered, the defendant was found with a gun in her hand, but that was Mr. Winterbank's gun, from which only a single bullet had been fired. And as we've already established, Mr. Greyson, that bullet was fired at you! Ah, but no, it wasn't the broker's gun that the pickpocket girl had when I saw her. Yes, the bullet from Winterbank's gun grazed my arm, and yes, the Skulkin's gun grounded the detective. But this was another gun entirely, a third gun. The broker's gun was not the murder weapon, so clearly there had to be a third firearm involved. In other words, the accuser must have had her own gun with her at the time. But no other gun was found at the scene! Calm yourself, Counsel. Sorry? You must consider the events in order. At first, I saw the broker and the girl glaring at each other, but then, all of a sudden, the broker turned to run. And it was at that moment that the little gutter rat shot him in the back.
A chilling image, I must say.
Okay. Oh, this seems it's full of holes, but let's go. Blood splatter, let's hear it. All over her. Yes, through the peephole I saw it clearly. Of course, the stains are invisible now, what with the coat being such a dark colour. But I assure you that garment is sullied with the victim's blood. Well, it is sullied with blood, that's for sure. But it's not Mr. Winterbank's blood, is it? No, that's right. It's Mr. Mason Milverton's blood from when Mr. McGilden stabbed him 2 months ago. It's so annoying. If only they'd accept Hurley's chemical analysis, we could prove that. But they won't, so unfortunately we can't use it as evidence to support our case. Bother. And this is the last one. It is. Then she tossed the gun out of the peephole, so I picked it up and made my escape. That makes no sense. Where is it? Did I hear you correctly? She threw the gun out of the room? That's right. After the broker fell to the floor, she started walking over.
Over where exactly?
In the direction of the storeroom door, to where I was watching. Of course, I quickly retreated, and then the girl dropped the gun through the peephole onto the floor on my side of the door.
But why on earth would she do such a thing?
I couldn't tell you. Perhaps she was hoping to distance herself from the murder weapon. Without thinking, I went and picked it up. I suppose I was worried about just leaving it there in case any more tragedies took place. So it was you, in fact, who took the third gun from the scene of the crime? Yes, it was yours truly. I left the clear up to my lackeys and left. Clear up? We made a bit of a mess around the counter, so Mr. Whistling Foot here told us to tidy up. He thinks his elbow with me bum sometimes. Well, I was paying you enough, by God. Ill. Tell me, Mr. Greyson, when you left the pawnbrokery that night, was there by any chance with the second disc in your jacket pocket? You're like a bullet at a gate, aren't you?
Oh!
What?
Excuse me.
Gentlemen? Yeah. Ah! Something wrong, Sunshine? That should be my line. You do realise you were just violently shaking Mr. Skulkin? Blimey, this dude's a bit of a hooligan, ain't he? What was going on just now? You saw him. He grabbed me whistle. While on blazers, he said, "Didn't you mention the Fergo when we got down to the station?" And why didn't you? Because we know nothing about it. I'm flaming people in the door. Sorry about that. I can be prone to losing my rag sometimes. Not are you? God, why me? See the way he's looking at me? I'm telling ya, this D gives me the willies. That was strange. The inspector doesn't normally get quite as worked up as that. He wouldn't normally grab someone. No, that wasn't like Rexy at all. He's normally all sweetness and light, no matter what I say to him. Yeah, well, I think you might be a special case, Iris. Anyway, that was definitely out of character. Okay, you go back to eating your fish and chips, all innocent.
Oh. My lord! Requesting your lordship's permission to interrupt the cross-examination! Explain yourself, officer. I have the results of the test ordered earlier, my lord. Ooh.
Ah, the blood on the accused's overcoat. Okay.
Thank you, officer. Very well, cross-examination is hereby temporarily suspended. Oh, I presume you have no objection, counsel?
I mean, I was out of stuff to press anyway, so yeah. No, my lord. Okay, let's go. Oh, there you have it. The report, please, Inspector.
Yes, sir. Traces of human blood were found on the overcoat of the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade. From the extent of the stains, it would appear they were the result of spattering following a gunshot wound. End of report. Goodness me.
That's not good. That's very much not good. See? What did I tell you?
Objection.
No, the one in that coat is not Mr. Winterbanks.
What on earth makes you say that, counsel?
The coat originally belonged to Magnus McGilded. Just before his coat was deposited at Winterbanks, Mr. McGilded had faithfully stabbed Mr. Mason Milverton. So the blood on the overcoat is the blood of the brickmaker from the omnibus case. Well, the dead cannot speak. Isn't that right, my Nipponese friend? Sorry? 2 months ago, in this very courtroom, did you not argue fervently for Mr. McGilded's innocence? And yet, now that man is dead, you brand him as a murderer? Your conduct shatters any shred of respect you may have earned for yourself in this country. But that was...
I call it a bally disgrace. Treachery is what it is.
I forgot these were here. How to determine whether the one in that coach is 2 months old or not? Even a stereoscope couldn't help the answers to that problem pop out. It can't be done. But... we used Mr. Sholmes' specifically formulated chemicals?
Mr. Sholmes is a detective, not a chemist.
Would you put faith in a chemical formula devised by me, for example, when I'm a communications officer? I held out the Piroski to starving boy and he ran away crying. I agree. Look, Sholmes is barely more than a figment of the public's imagination. His name carries no weight in this courtroom. No weight at all. How could you say that? Victory is sweet indeed. This proves that my testimony is the whole truth from the start to finish.
How do you arrive at such a conclusion, sir?
As the witness said, the accused's coat was splattered with blood of the victim. The only way Mr. Graydon could possibly have known this fact is if he saw it happen. In other words, his testimony is solid and the conclusion is singular. It was the accused who shot the victim in this case. That is the whole truth.
My lord! Been a long battle, this one, but this old warhouse has something to say now, if you please. Oh, Mr. Foreman? As of this moment, sir, the squadron has reached its final conclusion. Ready, men? All for one now. Sir!
Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty. Guilty. Guilty.
Guilty.
Why does he headbutt it? Why?
Well, it would appear, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, have reached a unanimous verdict.
The defense has consistently failed to unpick this witness's testimony. Here's to any attempt you may make at unpicking the jurors' decisions being equally successful. Ugh. Oh! I don't believe it. After I've come so far. How's it all unraveling on me so fast? How very distressing to be held in such a low esteem. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo?
Officer? You've delivered the report now. That will be all, thank you.
It occurs to me with some regularity, Mr. Naruhodo, that scientific truths are determined not by science, but by none other than the human mind. I know that voice. Am I going mad? Oh, you son of a bitch. Mr. Sholmes!
What is the meaning of this? Order, order!
What business do you have here, detective? The last I heard, you were recuperating in hospital. As well I would be, had I not been set upon an errand. What errand?
Hurley, it's really you. You're awake at last.
Yes, good day, Iris. I appear to be rather late to rise. My apologies. Now, my lord, if you will humour me.
In what manner, sir?
I have something of great importance I wish to give the young lawyer over there. I need no more than 5 minutes.
Would you be so kind as to spare us the time?
What say you to this, Lord Van Zeeks?
This trial has taken many hours of the court's time, having spent so long already.
Exactly. Having spent so long already, we don't go wasting any more precious time.
As I was saying, having spent so long already, it would seem churlish to deny defense a mere 5 minutes.
Very well then. Counsel, you have 5 minutes.
Okay, let's go. What you got for us? My dear fellow, I apologise for the tardy arrival. Mr. Sholmes, are you alright now? Alright, I'm all wrong. Sorry? I've only just managed to summon the strength to stand, ma'am. I asked just for 5 minutes. But I fear even that may prove too much for me. Pray forgive me should I pass out. Let's make this discussion as short as possible.
Hurley, this place is full of idiots. None of them can see how wonderful your chemical blood analysis is.
Ah well, that concoction of mine really was just a bit of sport to assist me in my investigations. I never took the trouble to refine it for praise by the scientific community. An oversight on my part. Right. Modesty? Surely not. But enough of that. I'm here to give you this, my dear fellow. What's that? A lavender furoshiki wrapping? A leaving present from Miss Susato. From Miss Susato? If possible, if matters were to be settled without me giving you this. Those were her instructions when she asked me to do this in her favor. I don't understand. Miss Susato foresaw today's events, I believe. She knew the culprit would attempt to escape justice by a means both devious and underhand. And that you, Mr. Naruhodo, fighting failure as you are wont to do, would find yourself in considerable peril. At that very moment of crisis, you were to be given this small parcel. Those were the dear lady's instructions. A leaving present from Susato-san? Whatever could it be? What is this?
Oh, it's the machine I made. Ah.
I agree. Good point, Cat.
Look, I use this. It's my latest invention.
What is that?
I call it the cat flapper-mat. It can make a cat flap for a little furry friend like Wacky in seconds. What's Susie up to?
Miss Susato muttered the following words before she left. I'm a failure. I don't deserve to be a judicial assistant. What? Didn't she say something like that? You really are the best judicial assistant in the world.
Well, that's extremely flattering. But I'm sorry to say that I've been a complete failure.
Whatever did she mean by that, Mr. Sholmes? That night, when you left Winterbanks in pursuit of the thieves, Miss Susato made use of this contraption for a certain purpose. That is your answer, dear fellow. Not at all cryptic, then. Susato-san used this cat flapper-mat that night, but why? The cat flapper-mat has been entered into the court record. Ooh. Your 5 minutes is over. You're out of time already. I'm grateful for you affording us that brief recess, Mr. Reaper. I need no thanks, Detective. After all, the die is cast. Is it really? The jurors are unanimous in their leanings. No doubt my learned friend will consider a summation exclamation. But any attempt to alter the verdict now would be utterly futile. I wonder... Mr. Naruto? Yes? The rest is down to you, dear fellow. What is your plan? The rest is down to me. I need to be careful here. If I make a wrong move, the trial will end. Badly. My lord, the defense requests that this recording is going to get cut in half, because I'm looking at the time of this and so yeah, I'm going to make a quick save. But, of course, if you have enjoyed, then do feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. It does all help out a bunch. It lets me know that you do want to see more of this and all of that good stuff. And I think I'm going to record what I think is going to be the final episode, starting right now. So, yeah. Until next time, we'll set all that aside. And this time, I can guarantee it won't be too long until you see the next episode. Thanks for watching, guys. My name has been Neremik, and for now, peace out.